Welcome back to the Fedcast. Today we're going to be doing a spooky special on the differences in gun policy between my former boss, President Biden, and my current boss, Attorney General Bondi. Let me tell you, at the beginning of the year, I was super worried about being out of a job, since President Trump promised to rain hellfire down on me and my comrades, who did such a good job under the Biden administration, removing as many rights as we could. I even started packing up my desk when I heard about President Trump's executive order to protect Second Amendment rights. I mean, my colleagues over at the Department of Health and Human Services lost their gun control research funding, and my friend, Sen Banderson, over at Treasury, can't even target gun companies anymore thanks to Secretary Bessonette ending the blatant selective enforcement over at the IRS. But good old Red Flag Bondi is letting us continue the work of the Biden administration. Just quietly. God forbid anyone let it slip to the White House that we're still arguing the same cases in the exact same way as the Biden administration did. So what we're gonna do today is play a game. Biden or Bondi? I'll tell you something the DOJ has done and give you a few seconds to decide whether or not it was the Biden DOJ that said it, or did it, or the Bondi DOJ. For our first question, who tried to merge the ATF and the DEA into one super agency? If you thought Biden, you'd be wrong! This proposal to triple the ATF's budget, quadruple the amount of tactical teams available to confiscate guns, and to give the ATF the same surveillance capabilities that we currently use to track cartels was from Bondi's DOJ. Okay, now on to law letter prosecutions, where the DOJ charged sheriffs and FFLs for using a common practice to demonstrate machine guns for departments and tried to say it's some kind of loophole. Well, this started as a Biden DOJ priority. Bondi's DOJ is continuing these cases. Even worse, juries are rejecting the ATF's argument that decades-long norms are now suddenly illegal and pose a threat to public safety. That means the Bondi DOJ is wasting time and taxpayer dollars continuing the Biden-era infringement. Well, that's perfectly fine by me, I still get a paycheck. How about all the NFA cases making their way through the courts like SBRs and suppressors? Surely, the Bondi DOJ would hear what the president and the White House are saying about the NFA tax deletion as part of the big beautiful bill and take cues from that, right? Unfortunately, this is another case of Bondi following Biden. Take, for example, the cases of Rush and Peterson, where the DOJ in both administrations has called the NFA items specifically suitable to misuse by criminals. You know that there's millions of suppressors in the hands of gun owners, and they're basically just criminal totems. Not like there's only been a handful of crimes committed with suppressors, most of them being paperwork ones. Next, who do you think has been fighting the Missouri Second Amendment Protection Act, the law that would protect Missourians from federal gun control overreach, like me? Again, another one where the Biden administration teed up and the Bondi DOJ continues to go forward with it. In fact, recently, the Supreme Court declined to hear the arguments for this case, letting the DOJ set bad precedent against Second Amendment protections all over the country. Now, if you want to talk about spooky, how about a government program that tracks your gun purchases for whatever reason the government bureaucrat can imagine up indefinitely? Well, this one was actually a Biden action, but Bondi's not off the hook either. The government has partially rolled back this program, but it's left in place to target the really bad guys. By not fully killing this program like it should have been on day one, the Bondi DOJ creates an opening for future anti-gun administrations to come in and revamp the entire system to target law-abiding gun owners once again. And for our final Biden versus Bondi, we have this question. Who argued in court that GOA lawsuits were irrelevant and should be dismissed as moot? Hopefully you've got the hang of it, but ding ding ding, Bondi DOJ is correct. Not only has the DOJ argued that GOA's cases are moot, meaning that they can't get full court relief and ensure the Biden-era policies are dead instead of rising like a zombie next administration. But in many of the cases, like in their zero tolerance FFL case, engaged in the business lawsuit, and the Michigan Brady alternate case, the DOJ is continuing the exact same argument as the Biden DOJ did. Ooh boy, do I love working in the DOJ. The boss may change, but everything else stays the same. Now I hope everyone had fun on this episode of Biden v. Bondi. As you can see, old Sen Banderson is perfectly fine hanging around the DOJ for now. I'll see you next time.